This is the Dental Up Podcast, brought to you by Keating Dental Arts, a full-service, award-winning dental laboratory. Each week, you'll learn tips and techniques from real-world dentists, bringing you in-depth interviews, motivating stories, current events, and sports. Here's your host, Sean Keating.
Hey everyone, Sean here. Welcome to another episode of the Dental Up Podcast. Our guest this week is a graduate from the Tufts University School of Dental Medicine. He enrolled in the first ever long-term continuing education implant program at Harvard University School of Dental Medicine, and he graduated with a certification in implant dentistry. He dedicated his practice largely to dental implantology, tissue regeneration, and implant prosthetics, making him an expert in implant dentistry and internationally known instructor in the subject. Currently practicing from Marblehead, Massachusetts, please welcome Dr. Donald Rothenberg, DMD. How's it going, Dr. Rothenberg?
It's going good. It's going good, Sean. How are you?
Oh, dude, that's so cool. I love it, man. You're out in Massachusetts. I always, whenever I talk to you on the phone, I was like, send me some lobsters. I love those cold lobster tails from the cold waters out there. And
we have plenty of lobsters now, and they had a good lobster catch this summer. The lobster fishermen, so they'll drop by at like 3:30 in the afternoon with a bag full of lobsters.
Oh man, I'd be sitting there with a bucket of butter, man, ready to go.
That's what we do. That's so awesome. We have a special pot that we put on the barbecue and let the barbecue heat them through, and we can cook like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 at a time.
Okay.
And then we take those out and eat them, and then while we're eating those, there's 5 more cooking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Those are pretty small ones. We have our California.
No, they're 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds.
Oh, that's pretty nice. No, I love them. They're just a sweeter tasting lobster from all the other ones. That you can just distinctly tell.
You can tell when they come out of the water the same day.
Yeah,
it's an unbelievable difference. But some of the fish we get here is really, really fresh. And I'm not a fisher connoisseur or that kind of stuff, but you can tell a lobster that just came out of the water. It just tastes better.
Oh, it does. It's just so sweet. And, they even say the smaller lobsters are tastier than, I want the big one, but, boiling them and then, putting them on the grill. But, to poach.
Yeah, you can put them in a steamer. Just steam them.
Yeah, that's a neat
stuff. You can actually cook one in a microwave.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, but you got to put it in a plastic bag in case it explodes.
Oh, jeez.
Then it creates quite a mess.
Oh, I bet, man. That's so funny. Well, hey, I like to start off always with talking a little bit about sports. Now, you're in a sports haven up there, man, and I love going out to the Yankee meeting, and seeing the different, the stadium and everything else.
Now, we're really in the thick of it. The Super Bowl is coming up with the Pats, hopefully.
Yeah, so you're not
the Red Sox just won the World Series.
Yes.
And the Celtics are really looking good. And I'm not a hockey fan, but I think the Bruins are doing okay.
No kidding.
I never got into hockey.
Yeah, me a little bit here with the Ducks and stuff because
I think you have to for me. If I played the sport when I was a kid, then I really get into them. If I ever did them, like baseball, basketball, football, auto racing, I did when I got older. Those are my auto racing is like a passion with me. But, we go back a long time.
How long we been together? How many years? I think.
Well, I first met you when you were managing the department in that, we won't name the other lab, but managing that department. And every time I had a problem, a question or something, and I would call and I'd get you, and you just go like, okay, man, I'll take care of it. And you took care of it.
Yeah.
And every time. So then I started sending everything to Attention Sean.
Yep. I remember 30 years, I think we've been together.
I don't remember when it was, but it was before my divorce. So it must have been like more than 17, 18 years ago that you opened your own lab.
Yeah, that's it, man. And
you called me and told me, I said, I'm coming with you.
Yeah, you did. That's so cool. I just remember Rothenberg, I always thought like the Rothschild. And are you really, what nationality is Rothenberg?
I think my ancestors, some of them came from Germany. I know some came from Poland and Russia. Rothenberg. There's a town in Germany called Rothenberg.
Oh, okay.
It's almost the same exact spelling. So I think that's where they came from. They used to come over and stop at Ellis Island, and what they would do is they have no identification, and they'd ask the people where they were from.
Okay.
And maybe somebody said Rothenberg, and they wrote down Rothenberg, and now there are, a gazillion Rothenbergs around.
Oh, that's a trip, man. That's a great story there. Oh, that's awesome. So what about with, so you're not a big Patriots fan. What, you're a Packers fan? How'd that happen?
No, I'm a Patriots fan. I'm definitely a Patriots fan.
Oh,
I'm just not a hockey. I just don't follow hockey.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'll follow any sport if it's a seventh game or something like that.
Absolutely.
I'm a sports crazy idiot.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, that's awesome, man. Okay, well, hey, let's dental up, Dr. Rothenberg. And what I like to start off, I like to ask, why did you get into dentistry, and at what point did you think, I want to be a dentist?
I don't know. I really didn't do well in high school. I was mostly into sports.
Okay.
And because I didn't do well, I went to school. I grew up in New York City, and I went to school in New York City. And my graduating class in high school was 1,700 kids.
Oh, you're kidding.
There were two. You got lost. You just got lost. So I got to college. Long story short, I broke my leg in the first football game that I went on a scholarship. To the University of Bridgeport, and I got clipped and broke my leg. And my major at that point, I wanted to be a marine biologist. What is an 18-year-old kid now? I wanted to be Lloyd Bridges.
There you go.
So this professor, I know this now, this professor, Gene Summers, took me under his wing. And within the first semester, I was getting all A's.
Yeah.
Like, I bring, like everybody was looking at me like, what's going on with this kid? And I got 3 years of straight A's and really good dental boards, and Tufts accepted me early admission. I entered dental school when I was 20 years old.
No kidding. Tell me a little bit about Tufts. I've had quite a few dentists that went to Tufts, and tell me a little bit about your college and where you went to college. But I know you went to Tufts.
I went to college in Connecticut. I went to college, a small school. It was the only college I got into. I got in on a football, baseball, track scholarship.
No kidding.
And then I broke my leg, so that was like screwed. And I figured, okay, well, I'm going to be gone. And this guy literally spoon-fed me everything that I needed to do. And since I was in a cast, in a wheelchair, I just listened to him. I mean, it was like awful. But I was getting A's. And once, it's like that thing, if you're a competitive person, once you start doing well, you build up your confidence and you're doing better. And after a while, the second year I walked into a course, and the professor said, I've never given an A in this course. And my brain at that point said, well, I'm getting an A in this course. It was an art course, art history course. And I got an A in the course.
That's awesome.
And I became, that's the way I am. I can be really competitive. And I went to Tufts with people who were 25 and 30 years old. They were graduates of Yale and Dartmouth and, Harvard. They were really, I went, wow, this is going to be interesting.
But then you went off to, Tufts there. Tell me a little bit about Tufts. What was it like on there? What you take out of it?
It was good. It was, it was 1967. The only thing that was bad, and we all questioned it, is did we go to dental school because of the war in Vietnam? Because if you went to dental, medical, or law school, it kept you out of the service.
Oh, you're kidding. I never heard that.
No, if you were, of my generation, you would know it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was in my subconscious. But I just kind of played along with what this professor at Bridgeport said. Well, why don't you apply to dental school or medical school and see if you get in?
I always heard if you had flat feet, man, they wouldn't let you in.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I applied to a whole bunch of dental schools, Columbia, Penn, NYU, and I got into all of them.
No kidding.
But I really wanted to be in Boston. I really wanted to be in Boston.
Oh, that's awesome. And then
Boston's a great town, especially if you're 20 years old.
Oh, yeah. It's fun times, man. I love it. Faneuil Hall.
But we had studies, so it was either party heavy or, we were studying.
Yep.
I mean, I never worked so hard in my life. I worked while I went to school. I worked at Boston City Hospital in the blood gas lab one night a week from from 6 in the evening until 6 the next morning. And then one weekend a month, from Friday at 5 until Sunday at 2.
No kidding. Dang.
And they paid us, and that money helped me get through school.
I know you went to a program at Harvard too. I have quite a few doctors from Harvard, and I had this old guy, Dr. Gardner. He got me into penny stocks back in the 80s, 90s. Like, oh yeah, I bought it for 8 cents, and 2 years later it was at 10 cents. But
yeah, right.
But
Harvard was an interesting opportunity. I was already in practice for a while. I opened my first office in Saugus, in a small town north of Boston, in 1972, and I stayed there 5 years. And then a hospital gave me an opportunity to move into a brand new medical building that they built right next door to the hospital. Okay. So I could just walk over and do my surgeries over there.
No kidding.
And I stayed there for 10 years. And my kids were really little, and I realized that I wasn't seeing my kids grow up. So I started looking for more office space, and I had a big office there. I had 2 other dentists working for me and about 20 people. And I just was going out of my mind. As you know, managing a lot of people is tough.
Oh, yeah.
And it just really is tough.
No kidding.
And I never learned how to do it. To this day. So we had this big house in Marblehead, and it had this finished basement, needed to be changed, and we made it into an office. I didn't know what was going to happen. I took my hygienist, an assistant, secretary, two assistants, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, it's a unique practice. I remember when you got that. I mean, and it's your house, but you built your office in the basement, right?
Yeah, it's a multi-level house. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 levels.
No kidding.
It's a contemporary. And so the whole, what you consider the basement, was this finished walls. The outside walls were finished with just sheetrock and painted white. And the floor was an indoor-outdoor carpet. And the kids used to come down here and play on their big wheels.
Okay.
Or basketball and stuff. So we had moved here, and I was at the hospital working, and there was this opportunity at Harvard. It was like just a course, it was going to be the first semester would be the first course would be every Wednesday night, I think it was, or something like that, for 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. And it was about implants. So I said, geez, I want to learn about that. I was doing a lot of perio surgery and stuff. I want to learn, see what's going on with implants. So I took the course. It was given at Harvard. Paul Schnittman taught it. He was a character. He is a character. And he made us take a test at the end of the course to go on to the next phase. But anyway, I took it pretty seriously. And we were seeing people like Jerry Nisnik, Lenny Linkow were coming to Harvard. Branimar came. Hill Tatum came. Everybody came because they wanted to all speak at Harvard. They wanted to add it to their resume.
Exactly.
And I was in the first year of this program. So we saw everybody. I didn't realize what an opportunity it was until, later. But it was a 3-year program. It was every Wednesday for 3 years. And it was really cool. I don't think they have it anymore. I know they don't have it anymore.
Yeah. I love that.
And it wasn't even expensive back in the time. Now it would be a fortune.
Oh, I bet. I love the Harvard Club, man. Every time I go to Boston, I end up eating at the Harvard Club, and man,
Harvard's a different world. It's like another world.
Yeah, it is, like from the 1700s or something. It's just so crazy. And
when you're a student there, like I'm now a Harvard alumni, so I get all the Harvard junk and the donation stuff and all that, but I get any and all benefits like football games and things.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just like you put down Harvard on your, and people hear that and they go, Harvard, he went to Harvard, he must be good.
I remember my boys, I want them to go to Harvard football, and, it's like, when it comes time to it in their high school, it's like, well, you got to be a 4.0 and there's no.
Yeah, you got to be a pretty good student and football player.
Yeah, the C's weren't going to cut it, and then there's no there's no scholarships. Yeah, you got to pay for everything. Like we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Really that. If you go to college, boys, you can get a scholarship, and I don't think it's at Harvard, but
yeah, it's tough. So, But I did this program, and it was from 85 to 87. And somewhere in 86, I decided, okay, I'm ready to do my first implant, and started reading the journals and saw this little implant company, or about a little implant that you made the osteotomy, the hole in the bone. You did it by hand. Yeah. And way back then in the 80s, in the mid 80s, with Brannemark and all those people, it was really, don't hurt the bone, don't burn the bone, don't burn the bone. And I figured if you did it by hand, you couldn't hurt the bone. There would just be no way. The friction, there was no friction. So I called up this 800 number. I got this guy on the phone, and it was Tom Driscoll, the inventor of the Bicon implant.
Okay.
And Tom and I became fast and furious friends. I mean, this was in Tom was in his, I don't know, I might have been maybe 40. Tom was 60. So he used to come up to Boston. We used to make videos, and then Stryker bought them, and I lectured for Stryker all over the place. I mean, I don't know how those guys do it. It's really hard. It's hard to run a practice and lecture and all that stuff. And Stryker was very generous and reimbursing me or paying me, whatever you want to call it. But I wouldn't see my kids and being on the road, and I just didn't like it. And then Norm Shepard and Vin Morgan bought the implant business from Stryker and started Bicon. And Bicon's right here in Boston. It's about without traffic, it's a 20-minute drive.
That's crazy. And like all my East Coast doctors, like they're all into Bicon, and we're like, why the heck you into this implants? And I know you're a big lover of it, but man, you're putting those things.
I'll tell you, if you don't understand it, talk to Steve.
Yeah, but
talk to Steve.
I love
because Steve, I mean, it's a very different implant.
Yeah, you put it in with a mallet. You hit, you hammer it.
There's another one that we found that is just like Bicon. The attachment is the same way. It's not a screw. It's a tap in.
Yeah.
But the implant is screwed in.
Okay. But tell me,
my patients seem to like that better. They don't like us banging on their head.
Yeah. Tell me how that works.
If they're medicated, it's different. But if they're not, they don't. It doesn't hurt. It's just a really unpleasant thing.
Yeah, bam, bam with a mallet. But that's just
you do it very gently now. Yeah. We've learned to really do it gently, but it's still kind of weird. But
it's kind of what I do with my screws into the
the other implant that I use is Quantum, and I use Bicon, and we do a lot of implants here. I made the practice. I was a general practice, and then I became a general practice that did a lot of implants, and then in 2000 and last time I had cancer, 2013, 13, I changed the practice limited to implant dentistry.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool. It's been really cool. I've had my medical challenges over the past few years. This getting old is not as easy as they say it is, but now I'm fine. I'm doing great. We're working. I got a great team here. And you seem to be seeing the cases that nobody else wants to do, the ones that are tough. And I enjoy that. I mean, the easiest thing I do every day is sit down and do my surgery for the day.
Yeah, I know. I've been
doing it a long time.
Yeah, you have, and you just are crushing it, man. You really are. And
I'll have my I'll have my 50th dental school reunion coming up in 2021.
Oh, that's so cool, dude, man.
And I still can get on a surfboard or a tennis court.
That's awesome. I can't, man.
And my girlfriend's 39 years old.
Say that again.
No, she really is.
Your grandchild, you said?
Oh, no, my girlfriend.
Oh, your girlfriend.
Yeah, she's 39. She's a fellow at Harvard.
Are you kidding?
In research.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We met while I was teaching, and it's cool. But
good for you. So what about?
I'm not going down the road of marriage anymore. It's just nice to have somebody that you hang out with.
Oh, absolutely, man, definitely. So tell me, what kind of procedures don't you like doing at your practice?
I don't do any general dentistry anymore.
No kidding.
I mean, occasionally if I have a quadrant where I'm doing some implants and a crown in that area, and tooth needs a crown, I'll do the crown.
Okay.
When I take the impression, I'll pick up the crown, and Steve will make a crown for me or an odd or something like that.
Yep.
But my practice is totally either the surgical part of the implants or the prosthetic part.
Hey.
And I mean, whether it's one implant or an all-on-6, that's just what we do.
That's it. No, that's awesome. What are you doing for marketing to drive patients to your practice? How do you get patients in there?
Well, we did this thing, we did the thing that everybody does, the AdWords, and we've seen my website. It's a pretty nice website. We spent a friggin' fortune on it. Yeah. And they become obsolete so fast. So I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago now, I thought to myself, geez, I used to get the newspaper delivered to the house, the regular paper. So what if I put an ad in the Boston Globe? And I said, well, that's kind of cheesy, I don't know. And I talked to my staff about it, and one gal who worked for me, Terry, she still works for me part-time. She said to me, what do you got to lose? Why don't you just try it and see what happens? Well, the first time or two we ran it, Sunday Globe in the front section, and it wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be. And Monday and Tuesday, we must have got 8 new patient phone calls that made appointments for consults.
No kidding. That's awesome.
And so we've been doing it every other week. I mean, I had a guy walk in yesterday. He said, I saw your ad 2 years ago here, and he went in his pocket. And he took out of his pocket the ad. He had cut it out of the paper.
Yep, that happens. Yeah,
who would figure the regular printed, old-fashioned newspaper ad?
Yep.
And it just set off this chain. And then once you start getting a lot of patients, those patients send more patients.
No kidding. Yeah, I've had I seen your ad 3 years ago, and I saved it. And my lab guy retired, and now, Sean, I'm going to give you a shot. And people do that. They'll see stuff, and they'll remember you. And that's why you got to keep throwing it out there every once in a while, just so when the time does come that they're looking for a service or a doctor's looking for a lab, it's amazing how that is. Like,
you just have to be creative. I mean, we tried the AdWords, and we're a little bit on Facebook now. That's been pretty interesting. I have a gal who's a patient of ours, and she did some stuff for us to put our visibility on Facebook better. And that, it's easy to track because the patients will say, well, I saw your ad in the Globe, or I saw you on Facebook. So we're very careful about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have
my front office people, they know about that, and they run one of these Excel spreadsheets so we can watch where things are going.
Perfect. Do you have a referral program at all with you kind of go after your existing patients and have them let them?
No, my existing patients are seeing a friend of mine who's a general dentist over here in Swampscott, Daryl Smith. He runs a really nice practice and has a great hygiene program. So we're sending out letters to all our old general dentistry patients. This is who we're recommending. And, I just don't do any of that anymore at all. If people call me like on a Saturday night or something and they have a toothache and it needs a root canal, I don't even have the stuff to do a root canal anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's some people.
So I give them, North Shore Endo's number, our root canal people, and I give them their number and they call them. But I don't even have that stuff. I don't even have, I think we have a little like composite for bonding. That's about it.
No kidding. Well, good for you. Good
I don't even have that's all gone. It's strange. It's really strange. Because when you're in a general dentistry practice like I was for years, I had patients that are with me 30, 40 years.
Yep.
You see them all the time. You get to know them. When you're in a specialty practice, you see the patients maybe 4, 5, 6 times and you're done. And you never see them again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah. What about dental conventions or gatherings? What do you like to go to? Any in particular?
I like to go to the meetings. It's really important for me. I like to go to the meetings where I know the speakers are going to be good speakers. I just like going to the Yankee. Nothing wrong with the Yankee, but you get your CE credits there. There are some courses. Last year, I went to the Dental XP meeting, that group from Atlanta. The Salama brothers run it, and that was down in Florida. And I'm going down again in March. It's a great meeting. The speakers are the best people in the world. Okay. And it's really worth going to. If I had to pick one meeting a year, that would be the meeting.
Okay. What about what are your thoughts on new new technology in dentistry? You know, like impression scanners, CAD CAM, etc. What do you think about some of that?
We routinely get CAT scans on patients unless it's one implant between two healthy teeth or something really simple. But we get CAT scans, and I call it CAT scan guided. You know, we don't use surgical. I don't use surgical guides. I've been doing this too long. Surgical guides, I tried them. They're really a pain.
Okay.
Some of the people like surgical guides. They're usually the younger people. Everybody's younger than me. And the younger the people. But to me, it's like, okay, like you've used it for a while. It's time to take off the training wheels and like go ahead and do what you need to do. Okay. But that's my feelings. You know, for me, if it works for you and you do a good job with it, then keep on doing it the way you're doing it.
There you go.
But we use CAT scans routinely. That's really important to know where I'm going. We haven't got into digital scanning yet. And one of the reasons is for the system that we use, Bicon Quantum, with the abutments. I put in the abutments. Say a patient has 4 teeth that I'm going to make crowns on for implants. Well, I'll put the abutments, which we have many different kinds. I'll put the abutments in the implants, but I won't tap them in. And I'll take the impression and withdraw them, and the abutments are in the impression. And then I put the analogs on and I send them to Steve. And he pours up a model, and that model has the exact abutments that are going to go in the patient's mouth, so he can prep them. He's not working on a plastic die. He's working on the analog that's going in the patient's mouth. And so that's worked out wonderful for us. I just put that on Facebook in a group that I belong to. It's worked out wonderful because we get the case back from the lab, and my assistant takes the abutments out and runs them through the autoclave, cleans them and runs them through the autoclave. And then we put everything on, we put the crowns on, and the margins are perfect because they have to be. They're going on what he preps, you know, so it really works out really well. And I don't think you could do it with Bicon. I don't think you could do that with another kind of implant. Yeah, but I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Yeah, it's a one of a kind, and Steve tapped.
Yeah, the abutment is a solid titanium alloy.
Yep.
So that's why Steve can prep them any way he wants them to get them below the gingiva. You know, it's really made our job a lot easier than working on those things that used to break off, and you had to super glue back on, and that was awful. Yeah. And then the fit we get when we take an X-ray, the fit we get is exquisite.
So tell me,
what really worked out for us?
What kind of advice can you give some of our newer dentists starting off? You know, you've been through it all. You know, GP, it's special.
You know, it's tough. I mean, some of these kids get out of school and they have $200,000-$300,000 debt starting off.
Yeah, at least.
You know,
minimum.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I remember getting out of school, and I think I don't know exactly. I think I paid for about 10 years. I paid $86 a month for my student loans. $86 a month. And I wanted to just pay it off, and my accountant said, "Don't pay it off. It's like cheap money."
No kidding.
But you know, it was different, you know. And so every young guy or gal, I think about half the people who are in dental school now are women, and that's great. I really think that there's definitely a place. Women make very good dentists.
Oh, I know. I've got a lot of great women dentists, man, and they just got the.
One of my friends is a dentist in Germany. She's an implantologist, and she's one of the best in the world.
No kidding.
She'll be at this meeting in Florida, and Harriet Lerner, and she's really just. I mean, if I have a case that I want a little to talk through with, we just get on. We have a group of people on Facebook from all over the world. And about every 2 or 3 weeks, we'll get together, try to get our times together, and I'll go on FaceTime on my iPhone, go on my computer, and there's Sam's from Moscow, Tom DeWitt's from Belgium, he uses Bicon, Howie Gluckman's from South Africa, Augusto's from Brazil, guy in Maryland, me, a bunch of other guys sometimes, guy in India. And we just talk about our cases that are difficult or we're having problems. We don't talk about, you know, what worked out really well. I'm not going to learn anything from looking at a case that came out nice.
Absolutely.
I'm going to learn something looking at a case that had a lot of problems.
What are some
a young dentist getting out of school, unless you got somebody to back you up, like a dad who's a dentist or something like that. It's tough. You're probably going to be working somewhere for somebody. It's, I got out of dental school. I was 24. At 25, I opened my own practice.
God, is so young, man. At 25, I couldn't.
I didn't know any better. I really didn't know any better. I just did it. I thought you were supposed to do that. So I did it, and it worked out. I don't think you could do that now, because you can't go into a bank and ask them for $150,000 to start a practice, and that's a minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
On top of the loans you have already. So I don't know how these young people do it, but they do it.
Yeah,
they do it. There's a lot of young people. I see a lot of. I don't know a lot of real young people. I know a lot of dentists in their 40s. So they've been practicing for a while. But I don't know new graduates. I very rarely get involved with new graduates because they don't get involved with implants.
Yeah, and
until they got to get doing a crown first.
Exactly.
And figure out how to do a crown.
It's tough starting off. I mean, and for the dentist, they probably, they're hesitant. I'm going to teach this person all this stuff, and then they're going out and start their own practice, or
that's what's going to happen. I mean, that's why a lot of people go on and specialize, which is fine. Or they go to areas of the country that really need a dentist. I like when I opened my practice up here. It was in a small town north of Boston called Saugus. And the dental supply company found the site for you back then. They would find a location that needed a dentist. And this town had 5 dentists die in the last 5 years.
Jeez.
They were old. They were old and they died. And the town, maybe about 50,000 people, only had one dentist.
Oh man, it's time to move in that place.
So I opened, and I was busy right away. Yeah. I was lucky.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, dude, man, I can't thank you enough. I mean, I know you're busy and you got to get going, but I thank you for coming on and talking on the podcast with us this week. How's everything else?
Yeah, anybody wants to know more about the implants, or you can give them my number, that. And
we'll put your info up and your website and everything up on the podcast, so people that see it, they can just click on the link there and kind of check it out. Cool. And we'll put your Facebook up there and stuff like that. But
it's always fun to help somebody out.
Oh yeah, and Dr. Rothenberg, you've always been one of the most nicest dentists through all the years. You're such a cool dude, and I love your Bostonian, take a whack in the pack, and I love your accent and stuff. It's just so neat, and I just know you just got a real big heart, and I know how much you're really into your dogs. You like the golden retrievers, don't you? Is it golden retrievers or? Yep.
I have a golden now. I have a really nice golden. She's a little one. She's only 64 pounds, and she was at the groomer this morning. And that dog is out cold now.
Yeah, that's so cool.
She's going to sleep for about 3-4 hours. She went outside, did her business, and just came back in and went to sleep.
Oh, that's so much. I love my dogs too, man. I'm a big dog guy myself, but
yeah,
hey, you got to
really. Or else I'd be in this big house all alone. This house is it's 3,800 square feet. So it's a pretty big house for all alone. That's why I could put the office here, because it's such a big house.
Oh, yeah. You know what? And that's a gold mine, too. I have a doctor that just retired out of, he was in Nantucket, and he had his house, and he did a dental practice with it, too. And, obviously Nantucket's real pricey, but he just retired and sold it. And the same thing with you. I mean, with what you can get out of that house and a dental practice for an up-and-coming younger dentist or an existing dentist that wants to buy practice.
We bought, I was married when I bought this house. It was $150,000, and now it's about $1.2 million.
Yeah, look at that. And then
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's
really
crazy.
is. That's so nice.
But I'm not going anywhere, so it's not worth anything except to me, because I'm not going anywhere. I like it here.
Well, baby, you keep sending me those implants like you do every day, and I want you to stay there too. But I'm just saying, down the line, you got yourself, it probably 1.5 too. You never know with the practice, and everything else. But no, good things are coming your way, and I can't thank you enough. I love you, Dr. Rothenberg. God bless you and your family. And if there's anything we could do, you know where to get us.
You always do. You guys really go the extra mile. It's so easy to talk to you. If we have a problem, we settle it out really easy. It's not a big deal. The guys know that if they see something that they question in any way, like in the Crown and Bridge days, if they think it wasn't a good impression or something like that, they'd call me up and say, I think you need to retake the impression. And I'd retake it. I wouldn't give them a big deal. I just retake it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I loved it. And it's just a great attitude. And
you gotta think of your lab as just like one of the people that's working with you.
Exactly. We're a team. We're a team that both of
us. You can't think of the lab like it's working against you, or
yeah.
I mean, that doesn't work for me. Anyway.
No. Well, dude, thank you so much, man. You're the man, Dr. Rothenberg, and thanks again.
Take care. Have a nice afternoon.
All right, sir. Good talking to you.
Okay, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Dental Up Podcast Show this week. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or search the Dental Up Podcast on iTunes for our weekly feed. Don't forget to visit KeatingDentalArts.com/promo for exclusive offers. Keating Dental Arts is a full-service dental laboratory, and we're nationwide. We'd love for you to send us a case so we can show you the Keating difference. If you dig what you heard, please leave a review on iTunes, and we'll be back next week.